故事如何演变。
So much so that you might say it's bordering on ridiculous that no one in this universe has mentioned it before.
Who says they haven't? Oh, because they didn't make a movie about an even lesser known hero before they did Iron Man. Yes, they should have totally launched the MCU with Shang-Chi and not Iron Man. What's riskier? Starting with an unknown actor and an unknown character, or just an unknown character?
有人说他的十环是火山口里捡来的，还有人说是墓穴里盗来的。
Or maybe they were in a box of cereal. We really don't know.
Maybe. No one really knows. That's kind of the point.
Minutes, these super circles will create a force field, force push him from his steed, clear a landing spot, pack some power punches, grab a soldier by electricity or some shit, clear a path to the door, and anything else the movie thought would look cool. As opposed to, skipping the 10-ring circus and just doing the door thing, at which point every single soldier shrugs and walks away.
Yes, because he is demonstrating the power of the rings. He's showing this opposing army that nothing can stop him.
Also, he does some impressive ass beating, but do the 10 ninja donuts not allow him to take on more than one guy at a time?
He says while showing him take on more than one guy at a time. You do watch the movie while sitting it, right?
他打造了一支十环军团。
Even though there weren't 10 of them, and what he had were technically bracelets. It's okay. I sometimes call mine the 10 inches for the same reason. I get it.
There are literally 5 rings on each arm, and no, they are not technically bracelets. Ever heard of a neck ring? These are similar, they just go on your arm. Also, Jeremy makes a penis joke.
Not securing your bullion.
How would securing their bullion have done anything? He would have just blown the boxes apart and still gotten it.
也改写了历史。
Unless you're time traveling, you don't change the course of history. You set the course of history. To change something indicates a given guaranteed alternative. Set the course of history sounds more badass anyway. You do want to be a badass, don't you?
Unless you have rings that give you godlike powers. See, the point the movie is making is that without these rings, he wouldn't have been able to do any of this. So he is in fact changing the course of history.
传说中的神兽和古老的法术还都存在。
Why would gods use martial arts?
Repeat after me. Comic book movie.
明白，我这就派侦察队去一探究竟，然后有消息立马跟您汇报。
我们现在就去。
Kids!
Bicycles. See, I can say random words too. What was this in?
Okay, fine, mystical, magical, blah, blah, whatever. But trees have freaking roots, man. It's not like the movie is saying this is an illusion. There are real physical consequences here. Are these Fallon trees? Because I just don't see how they could stand on their own without the roots.
The type of tree is irrelevant. They could be pine. It's explained later on that the forest reconfigures itself once a year and you have to know how to navigate it in order to find the hidden village.
The guy with the supernatural fitness tracker saves himself and only himself. Guess who this movie's villain is?
How is this a sin? It's literally the point of the scene. Also, Jeremy refers to the 10 rings as a fitness tracker.
Now see, if that was David Dunn, that puddle would have killed him.
Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that is not a sin of the movie.
That origami! I couldn't make a dragon like that even if I did nothing but study paper folding for the next 30 years. And since I can't do it, instead of owning my own I'm exercising my right to take out my frustration on the thing presenting me with my shortcomings. As Mother Nature intended!
Jeremy sends something he likes in a movie.
Not charging your phone overnight.
You do know that wireless chargers are a thing, right? Additionally, there are plenty of phones that don't require charging overnight.
I've had it with these motherfucking present day titles in these motherfucking movies. It is not present day, it is a specific day. When the disembodied spirit of Elon Musk Jr.'s AI companion Selectron Alpha is watching this movie in 2396 as the embers of humanity glow in the void of an endless night, it will not still be present day, damn it!
This is stupid. Yeah, I know, like most of the rest of the video, but bear with me. Present day is used to indicate a time frame. People watching this 20 years from now aren't going to think the movie took place in 20 years. They're going to think it took place the year it was released, or whichever year it's supposed to be in the MCU timeline. The point is, this gives you a reference point.
Hot Jesus! San Francisco is the hottest film location since Vancouver. Apes, Ant-Man, even his Endgame appearance, and then the Venom films, then Matrix Resurrections, and this road.
Sinning 2 iconic San Francisco landmarks. That's worth a couple of sins itself.
Please open the door.
It's a pull-up lock and the window's open. I get that we are establishing that Sean is living an easygoing life here, but even he could probably figure out how to get that door open.
Okay, first, you can see that despite being a pull-up lock, you wouldn't be able to simply grab the knob and pull it up. Second, he's being polite and asking her to open the door. She isn't drunk or unruly, so it's a little unnecessary to reach into the car and open the door.
Sean, we've been friends for 10 years.
Exposition via friendly argument.
Was there a sin here? 'Cause I was waiting for a sin.
that maybe there's a point where you're supposed to stop going on joyrides and start thinking about living up to your potential.
Did my mom write this?
Jeremy's mom.
Look, we're now living in a world where at any moment half the population can just disappear.
Bloop.
Jeremy skips because the movie references the universe it's living in. You can't make this stuff up, folks.
去年我在他的坟前放了一瓶白酒，第二天没了。
Being stupid.
Have you watched your own videos?
Wai Gung didn't move here from Hunan so you could park cars for a living.
Okay, first of all, moving to San Francisco was a bad idea if you wanted awesome jobs or affordable living arrangements. All parking cars in San Francisco due to the city's notorious cost of living is probably a pretty f***ing good job.
First, Wai Gung probably didn't move to San Francisco recently. It hasn't always been a high cost of living city. Second, compared to what exactly? Her grandma likely wants her to become a high-powered professional with some kind of college degree. Yeah, parking cars requires a lot of skill, but not compared to being a doctor or a lawyer. I'm willing to bet that parking cars pays barely enough to squeak by in a high-cost city like San Francisco.
After this punch, his bad guy buddies wait through a zoom in, a couple beats of what the f face, and Sean asking Katie if she's okay before they decide to act. Say what you want about henchmen, but they know how to follow a script.
Except they didn't wait to jump into action. You've manipulated the scene. They were holding him, then he shook them off and threw a punch, knocking the boss back. Literally everyone was shocked for a moment, and then they grabbed him again.
I gotta be me. I gotta be me.
You're just putting in random stuff at this point, aren't you? Stop hiding the sync count, bro.
I'm not sure who decided to have this bus demolish a bunch of electric scooters, but whoever you are, my friend, you are the true hero. I mean, I still have to send the electric scooters for existing, but I wanted you to know how much I appreciate you first.
Jeremy says something he likes cliche.
Oh my god, he almost sliced into his junk! And then they look at each other like, I almost clipped your penis, bro! Can you imagine anything funnier?
Jeremy says boner.
Plenty of Sean survives this happening right now, but the bigger question is, why is this guy trying to slice him in half and make him not survive this when the orders were just to get the pendant?
Jeremy answers his own question cliche.
Signal, make a hard right.
What signal?
Seriously, in addition to it taking vaguely the same amount of time to say, when I pull the stop request line, take a hard right, how is Sean supposed to know exactly when there is even a chance to turn right in the first place? Especially one that he can line up perfectly with his plan. You might be surprised to hear this, but his whole plan relies on so much coincidence.
What? No, it doesn't. You've manipulated the scene, as usual. The back half of the bus is about to come loose. His plan was to fight the bad guys and knock them off the bus, or into the back, and have all the other passengers move to the front. His plan works perfectly and doesn't require anything other than San Francisco city blocks being short, which they are.
This purse strap save makes me think this scene could have been a kick-ass Marvel entry into the Final Destination franchise.
Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't.
So this is not being taught how to kill a man. This is having the shit beat out of you.
Jeremy thinks torture can't kill a man.
Sure, he's beating up 10 guys at once, but he's no Eep Man.
So a character does something you always complain about and you sin it anyway. And then you make a pop culture reference? I'm giving you 10 sins for this.
It's Shang-Chi.
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 This Shang's on for some time.
That's racist. Also, the point of the joke is that she can't hear the G in his name. Most English-speaking people probably cannot hear it. That's why he keeps correcting her.
You change your name from Shang to Sean?
As much as I hate to say this, I have to agree with Aquafina here. That is a lazy-ass name change.
Yes, that's the point. How is this a sin?
That hurt, Emil. You want me to show you how it feels?
Isn't this the villain Tim Roth played in The Incredible Hulk? On one hand, these cameos can give fun fan service to the observant, but for most of us, they just ring hollow and cheap, since we aren't cataloging every single Marvel character in our brains. I don't even remember this creature's name, so now I'm not sure if this cameo is a welcome addition or an outright abomination.
Yes, it's an Easter egg. You know this. If the casual viewers don't remember him, it's not a big deal. If they do, then great. They don't even have to remember his name. It does show the interconnected universe that is the MCU, though, and that's the point. Otherwise, it's just Wong fighting someone else in this fight club.
Also, no one will be seated during the Real Steel portion of the film.
Also, Real Steel was about robot boxing. This isn't anywhere close to that.
Oh my god, I could have a heart attack and die of not surprise.
Okay, so how is this a sin?
Also, fighting with my family.
Also, I'm just going to tack on 30 sins for all the pop culture references you're gonna make.
Can't stop thinking about how this main event cage just had a mystic arts magician versus a Hulk-type monster, but now it's just the All-Valley Karate Tournament.
It's basically a fight club. Two people go in and fight. They don't have to be mystical creatures or anything like that. They just have to be willing to fight, presumably until one gives up.
Even without supervillains, both of them should die from this stupid stunt. This isn't the Matrix!
Why? I get that the building is tall and they're high off the ground, but the poles are all stable.
On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair.
Thinking the Eagles will miraculously save you. What movie do you think you're in? Lord of the Rings?
Unbelievable. This is literally a callback to the beginning of the movie, and you appear to have completely missed it. Also, if we're looking for an in-character explanation, she's probably just stupidly nervous and didn't know what to do. Her breaking into song goes with her character at the end of the movie, where she goes to karaoke with Shang-Chi.
Told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they tried. Glad I was right. 我太想你了。
Cool. F you, daddy slap bracelets.
Not sinning parental abuse. I mean, seriously, Jeremy, did you just completely decide to gloss over that?
A funny story.
I'll be the judge of that.
You are a horrible judge of what's actually funny.
Some years ago, a terrorist from America,
Nope, not laughing.
the Mandarin, he gave his figurehead the name of a chicken dish.
Even more Iron Man 3 connections. If Ty Simpkins shows up here looking for his dad, I will legit add 1,000 cents.
Right, because Marvel is trying to clean up the mess they made by making the Mandarin out to be some wimpy figurehead villain instead of the badass it's supposed to be from the comics. This will probably happen more often as the MCU progresses in order to fix all the dumbed-down villains they created.
To get through, you need to know the route and the exact time it opens. Now I know both.
How? I mean, I saw a path there, and the movie seems to indicate you somehow know the day, but even so, if those dragon eyes are a one-time use, were you even paying attention enough to memorize all that? I've played Myst, man. Map ain't easy.
Jeremy answers his own question, cliche.
Trevor says he was imprisoned after Iron Man 3's events, but that Shang-Chi's dad broke him out to kill him. Now, I understand Trevor was playing the Mandarin, a fictionalized version of a real-life ancient crime lord, but why would that crime lord feel threatened in the least by Trevor? Why kill him? Especially if you just let him live after he entertains your men with Shakespeare. This whole explanation makes no sense at all.
Sure it does. The real Mandarin and his men were so entertained by him that instead of killing him, they decided to imprison him and use him for entertainment. See? Easy.
He says he grew up with your mum in Tarlo.
Am I even watching right now? It was a relatively straightforward magical kung fu movie for nearly an hour, and now suddenly I'm in a goddamn Pixar short.
You just send Awkwafina's character for living in a universe that has magic and being confused as to what's real, and now a magical creature has you confused as to what you're watching? Seriously?
Morris says he can guide you there right now.
For f***'s sake. Look, Morris is a f***ing stupid footstool of a creature. F*** him. I'm adding 100 cents for Trevor being in this movie.
Aww. Jeremy doesn't like magical creatures in a movie about magical rings, which takes place in a universe filled with magic. That's worth 100 cents.
The forest working with them or against them, because it apparently knows all about drifting and can adapt perfectly to these turns. Probably learned it from the Fast and Furious Okio drift.
You're manipulating the scene again. Morris, the creature you hate, is guiding them through. The forest opens and closes in places, and Morris can sense it as it happens and knows where to drive. You really should be a little more accepting of magic in a movie filled with magic.
Car just ran a spontaneous road course through a magical changing bamboo forest, and it has 0 body damage.
You mean other than the broken mirror on the right-hand side of the car that's still visible in this shot? They wouldn't have any of the body damage because of this thing on the front of the car. And because they...
Stay in the pocket!
Quick security recommendation for whoever designed entry protocols. Instead of the whole mutating forest maze bit, how about just not making the magical water portal an open source easy entry? You can put spikes in the driveway all you like, but maybe try locking the door?
Are you serious? There's a gigantic forest that constantly reconfigures itself and eats up vehicles protecting the entry. There's really no reason to have further protection once you make it through there. But you want them to get rid of that because you don't like the fully open water doorway? Do you even hear yourself?
I know we're going for a Jurassic Park awe-inspiring moment here, but I just can't shake a strange desire to catch them all.
Jeremy likes Pokemon.
Realm of Tarlo stretches far beyond the shores of our small village.
It's almost impressive how much heavy story work this movie manages to do by using real-life narration and murals of exposition. But even 60% creative exposition, it's still 60% exposition.
Jeremy sends something he likes cliche.
Until the attack of the Dweller in Darkness.
Hell, there are a lot of characters to keep track of here. We're halfway through, and I think they just introduced a new big bad.
Not really. The new big bad that has been introduced was Kang. He was introduced at the end of Loki. This is just a monster they'll have to fight before the movie ends.
You knew that one day you would find your way here and asked me to prepare something for your arrival.
She left them super suits? She's their mother and their Edna Mode?
These aren't super suits. These are the traditional outfits they wear in this village.
I think my favorite part of this movie is when Awkwafina gets Legolas good at bow and arrow in a few days' time. Wait. I forgot the word least.
She doesn't get Legolas good. You're right to point out that she's going to make a ridiculously amazing shot, but it's the only shot she gets in the entire movie. That isn't Legolas good by any stretch of the imagination. I'm giving you 2 cents for that.
As the intent is to make us think that Mr. Iron Bagels here has dozens of important rolled-up scroll documents in his office, that's fair. But don't tell me he has any f***ing clue which one is which, because he goddamn does not.
Iron Bagels? Really? Also, the intent is to show us the vast amounts of knowledge that he has access to or is hoarding. Of course he can't find it all at once, but he doesn't need to. The fact is that he's keeping it for himself, which also means he's keeping it away from other people. 2 cents for both of these.
If this was animated, I'd have already tagged it with a Disney protagonist is motivated by a dead parent cliche. But there's also a superhero who has a dead parent cliche. Can no one have a living parent?
Well, it's not animated. And that wasn't his motivation anyway.
He just blocked rifle rounds by moving the loot loops in front of them? Did they give him special powers of speed and agility as well? I hate how every piece of equipment just eventually acts like magic whenever it's needed.
CinemaSins, folks. Complaining that magic rings act like magic.
We will rebuild the 10 rings to what it once was.
It seems weird to me that his evil organization is named after the wrist anklets he wears. This would be like King Arthur naming his army the Excaliburs.
Evil guy isn't creative. Okay.
Burn it down.
Despite having the golden sphincters of ultimate power on his arms, he has his henchmen engaged in some fisticuffs, because you can't spell Marvel without marring the end of every movie or TV show with random pointless melees of hand-to-hand violence. Or something.
At the beginning of the movie, his future wife kicked his butt, even with the rings. He knows he can't beat all of them, so he needs something to keep them distracted while he goes to break open the gate.
Oh, cool! This beautiful, culturally thoughtful story about a family trying to reconcile with its past is going to come down to a CG battle with CG participants, and then a showdown between 2 equal beings fighting each other. Just like, well, every MCU movie ever. Look, I'm not saying that Marvel has a third act problem. I'm more saying they have a third act crisis.
Take it to Branson's. Also, Jeremy has a problem with the 3rd act.
Sure, Motorola Razor Fist can just jam a hastily chopped off dragon scale sword into his arm port and everything works just fine, but I spend 30 minutes trying to decide which way is up on a USB cable. Seems fair.
Jeremy doesn't understand technology.
Insanely timed ramp jump into triple demon swipe to floof lion mouth move is pretty cool. But does the floof lion have teeth made of dragon scales, or are we just supposed to assume that because he's some sort of Tao Lo creature that the teeth are also demon bat kryptonite? What even are the rules here, and how does anyone know them?
Jeremy sends something he likes.
How long is that rope? Why is everything magic?
Seriously? Why is everything magic in a magical village that has magical creatures that's hidden by a magical forest? Do you even hear yourself?
And just like that, our main fighters both have 5 of the rings and now have completed the full transition to same versus same. I swear it's oxygen to Marvel writers. They can go only so long without breathing the sweet, sweet air of equally powered combatants.
Well, since the movie is titled Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Rings, it should have been expected that at some point Shang-Chi would gain the ability to use the 10 rings.
Yay, more CGI chaos. My adrenal fatigue salutes you.
Were you expecting a real dragon? Because that would have been impressive.
It's time for the village! She hears this.
Yes, because he yelled it out to her. It's one thing to send someone speaking quietly to someone else. It's completely different when the character is yelling to someone.
I love how everything is going well until they drop a few more convenient souls into his system for an immediate upgrade. How intense are those soul hits? This how to cocaine your dragon nonsense is all of the dumb.
So you're surprised that a dragon that's powered by the souls of the dead gets stronger when it's fed more souls?
For reasons!
There you go, manipulating the scene again. He sees that the throat is a more vulnerable area. That's why he says that.
Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel hologram it in, when either could easily be there in person in a matter of minutes.
But why? This is the post-credits scene. There's no purpose to having them there in person. Plus, it was explained in Endgame that Captain Marvel is busy attending to the entire universe. She doesn't always have time to stop for every problem that Earth has.
You can get my number from Bruce.
Yeah, I don't have her number.
If none of the Avengers have each other's phone numbers, how do you all arrange hologram meetups like the one we just saw?
Bruce doesn't have her number. Wong was hosting the call, so he probably has her number.